I'm just going to clean up the crank journals here a bit. I already did sand it down with 1000 grit emery cloth. I just spray a little, kind of like a WD-40 liquid wrench lubricating oil. It's got a little bit more oil in it than WD-40. Put a little bit on the paper, and tighten that maybe up. There's no grooves in these journals at all. It's just that there's like oxidation a little bit. It's not pitting. There's no real pitting in it. You'll see in a second here. And I'm picking up a mic tomorrow morning to measure these. Make sure they're okay. Okay, I get a rag. It kind of turns the surface a light gray because it's been scuffed up. And then what I do, metal polish cream. It's you know, you're not putting a wax coat on here. This is like a real fine buffing compound if you use metal polish. And I put a little dab on the this cloth. Wrap it around here, and I do this for a few minutes, back and forth. And that's what you get. Hard to see here. It just polishes that up like chrome. So, and you don't even really see any of that oxidation in there anymore. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll mic those tomorrow, and then maybe I can bolt this crank back together, put it in the cases, and then do the end play. It'd be nice to get that done. I don't know if you can see how shiny that is in the video, but that came out better than I thought it would. I mean, that's pretty damn good. Now, hopefully it's, when I measure, it's within tolerances. And, you know, there's the other one. I mean, that cleaned up really good. So I put her back together tomorrow and then measure the cases. 48 degrees in my garage this morning. Got down to low 40s last night. Going to put the crank back together, get that bolted up. Gonna Loctite all the bolts, and then I'll measure the journal. I'm just waiting for my buddy to pick up his micrometer. Just gonna spray some brake cleaner in there. Already rinsed them off once. Gonna do it again. Because I'm going to use Loctite on these. Doesn't say in the manual to use Loctite on them or not, and they're torqued at 25 foot-pounds. But if one of these nuts or bolts ever comes loose in that crank and starts banging around there, you can cause a lot of damage. I'm Loctiting them on with red Loctite. Alright, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. It's gonna spray the hell out of that. Can't be too clean. I knew those timing marks were going to wash off on the end of this crank here. I can't see. Anyways, I did put a punch mark right there and a punch mark on the timing side. You can see right there. Where's my hand? Hard to see when I'm holding the camera. So timing sides on this side. It makes a difference according to the manual. Make sure you have this weight on the right way. It looks identical to me, but it says there's a difference. So, we'll put this back together. Now you got to put those two studs in first before I put this half on with the locking collar. And I'll get them positioned right, lock them on, and then I'll tighten them from this side. That's what I'll do. You can see two of these nuts are longer than the other 6. So these two are the two starting ones on the studs down at the bottom. And you can see they've extended them out a little bit, and that's just so that you can get a wrench on them in here. It's hard to get at. Once you get them loosened off, then the other ones are you don't have to worry about. They make it real difficult to torque these properly. Only a couple of them I can get the socket on because of the webs are in the way. So I got them as tight as I can get them, and I'm going to have to go with that. Luckily I put a little dab of Loctite on them all, so that should hold it. But you can't torque the bottom ones. You need a crow foot, and then you got to adjust your 25 pounds to probably a little bit less, because most crow foots are about 1 inch long. And then the beveling in the crank in here, it doesn't allow the socket to fit on. So you pretty much got to do it with wrenches. So it's real difficult to get those properly torqued to 25, but after turning a lot of wrenches for a lot of years, you get a good idea of feel when those things are right tight, and that's where I got them right now. I don't know if you can see in there, but the bottom two studs, oh, I just got a text in. Okay, got it. The bottom two studs have the bend over locking tabs here, and I just got that old chisel again there. just to get it started, just to get it to start bending over. Don't hit it too hard because that'll cut it off. But then my trusty old broken screwdriver, just use something like that, something with a square flat head. There. I don't know if you can see that or not in there. But just kind of bend it over like that. Real important to get those locked on there. All those bolts on tight. If they ever come undone, you're looking at catastrophic damages there. A little peen over more in there. Okay, cranks back together. I'm going to put the bearings on and try fitting them into the cases and see what my end play is. That's the next one. Correction. When I laid out those 6 bolts, and there was 2 long ones, and I suggested they went on the bottom where the tabs were, not true. That's the nice thing about these YouTube videos. I can go back and review them, and I noticed they were on the top, and that's so that you can get a socket on it. Because remember I was saying this concave here, I couldn't get a socket on it with the short nuts. So in the picture it showed the 2 longer nuts go on the top closest to the journal. That way you can get a socket on it and properly torque it. So the top 4 bolts you can get a torque wrench on. You can torque them 25 pounds. The last 2 I couldn't because I don't have a crowfoot adapter. I used to have all these tools years ago. I don't now. I don't even have the micrometers, which I used to have, so I'm going to go get one. So that's a correction there from earlier in the video.